Hey, this is your boy Reggie Gant, founder of Surf for Men. Just chiming in quickly to talk a little bit about this Klay and Megan Thee Stallion breakup, this fallout. The world, many acting surprised. They're wondering like why, they're wondering how, but this is like nothing new. Celebrities, successful men, they're breaking up all the time, right? The men who quote unquote appear to have it all are falling. And it's because many of them have a flaw or weakness that they refuse to face. And that's the lack of self-control. Just because you're disciplined in your business or your craft doesn't mean that you're disciplined in how you behave yourself and your character. And what I'm starting to notice is that folks can be disciplined in one area and still completely undisciplined in another. Being successful on the basketball court does not equate to being a man of character, a man of integrity. But yet we live in a culture where they want the two to be synonymous. It's not that way. Just because I'm a business mogul doesn't make me a man of valor. And men are lacking in self-control. And let's just call a spade a spade. Let's call it what it is. And when men lack self-control, it's the beginning of their downfall. Temptation is all around, especially for the successful man or father or husband, the one who appears to have it all: money, power, fame, prestige, all of the things, all of the trappings. Just look at some of the men who've fallen recently. I won't call anybody out by name, but just turn on the TV. Scroll through social media, you'll see so many men who have it all. They lack self-control. They're falling to temptation. Temptation is going to always be around us, right? But those who are strong, they know how to handle it. Those who are weak, they fall into that temptation. Scripture records that there is no temptation that is known to man that you can't overcome, and I'm paraphrasing that. It goes on to say that, God will always provide a way of escape. There's no temptation that happens to one man that's exclusive and only exclusive to him. We've all been tempted in many ways. But when God provides that way of escape, the disciplined man, the wise man, the man who desires to serve the Lord, he will take the way of escape. But we live in a culture where people don't want to take the way of escape. They want to do what they want to do. Culture glorifies success. You only live once. Live your life. Do you. That's what culture says, but that is not what Jesus Christ says. Right? The consequences of living a life out of control will lead to a person's downfall. For the wages of sin is death. The Bible is very clear. And what we're seeing is that men are choosing to please themselves instead of living their lives to please God. Proverbs 16:7 records that when a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies be at peace with him. And that simply implies that living in alignment with God is going to provide you with divine favor. But too many men are pleasing themselves. They don't desire to please the Lord. So if you're a man or father or husband and your desire is to please the Lord, how does one begin to please the Lord? I jotted down a few things. Number one, right? It's a heart matter. Align your heart. That means that you have to operate in obedience. You have to have humility, right? You have to seek God's approval over the approval of man. Number two, how does one please the Lord? You have to choose righteousness over riches. Oh, how hard it is to choose righteousness over riches. This world is trying to take every single thing away from you. It's going to distract you with all of the women, all of the wealth, all of the power. But if you really desire to please the Lord, you have to willingly seek after, chase after, search for, find righteousness over riches. And then number 3, it's all about divine direction. You know, we make plans all of the time, but the Bible is very clear. It is the Lord who directs our steps. He directs the steps of those who please him. So I'm not shocked that Klay and Megan broke up. I'm not shocked that there's infidelity, that another successful man, an athlete, has fallen down. Because again, remember, just because he's successful on the basketball court doesn't mean that he's successful as a man of character. One has absolutely nothing to do with the other. And what we are finding in this world is that men are lacking in their character, in their integrity, in their leadership, because many of them don't know who they are, because they don't know whose they are. So that's why Serve for Men exists. We come along to help a man identify who he is. And for the man who has fallen, for the man who is broken, Serve for Men exists to restore that man. We don't shame men. We don't silence men. I'm not even shaming Klay. I'm just not surprised. He needs to have more men in his space who will call him up to be the leader and protector and provider that God is calling him to be. And clearly that must be missing. Humility is missing. But our organization, Serve for Men, we come alongside men because we see the king in them and we call them up into the kingship. We call them up into the leader of their home, their family, their community, the leader at work and in business. And we have these safe spaces every second Saturday of the month virtually because we know that we need a space where we can come and unpack just as men, just as fathers, just as husbands. Because when these kinds of situations occur and life gets heavy, we don't always have a place where we can turn. We're expected to always be strong as men, but rarely are we ever given the space to be healed or healthy or whole. Serve for Men exists to create that space. So I want you to think about this. Men, are you living to please yourself, or are you living to please the Lord? If you're living to please yourself, you will crash and burn. Make no mistake about it. But if you are living to please the Lord, if your ways are pleasing in God's eyes, he will even make your enemies to be at peace with you. That means that there will be a divine protection, a divine covering, a divine favor that covers you. So I want you to think about that. Are you lacking in self-control? Are you lacking in discipline? Are you lacking in character? Do you have a support, a community, a brotherhood of men who can call you up into the man that you know that you can be and should be, yet you are not there? If not, tap in. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check us out at our website, www.serve4men, serve numerical 4men.com. Check us out. Talk to you soon.